And you want how many minutes?
15,
15 minutes for
Yes, sir.
executive session?
yes, for non-employee.
For non-elected personnel.
Non-elected,
yeah.
yes.
Non-employee.
Non-employees, yeah, non-employees, yeah. Well, that too, but non-elected employees, yes, please.
I make a motion that we go into executive session for 15 minutes to discuss non-elected personnel with the commissioners, Nita and Mary.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. We'll go into executive session for non-elected personnel for 15 minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay.
So I'm gonna sign this and then I.
Morning, Mike.
Mike,
You guys.
Sure.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I make a motion that we move Mackenzie Hoover in the treasurer's office from range 4, step 1 to range 5, step 2. And Chrissy Green in the treasurer's office from range 4, step 2 to range 5, step 3, effective December 1st.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We do the step increases for Mackenzie and Chrissy. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
I would like a copy of signed ones for me too.
Here's a golf cart that went from 172 to 41.
It's another issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you getting several of those coming in? Or I guess they're going to, they're not, are they talking to you? Are they talking to you about it? or
Everybody's
going to
jumped me about it. I told him to call Clay. It was his idea.
It's not my
what
idea.
I tell him too.
The problem, well, yeah, we've gotten
But
a lot of calls, but knock on wood, we just transfer them over to the appraiser's office because we have nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of our calls, most of our calls have been, but I guess a blessing right now is that Don George has been helping us, and it's been wonderful.
Loves it.
I know it. It's wonderful having him there because I've gotten so many oil questions. And he'll take the phone, he'll take those calls for us because he can answer them. He can answer the questions. If he can go, he knows where to look and how to answer the questions that they have. But there's a lot of issues there too. But the problem with these abatements is when people come in or they send in their tax payment, if it's under abatement in our system, it won't let us take their payment. So we've started a pile because it's either, no, it's not either. It won't let us put their payment in, so we just have to keep them. And then if they're abated off, then we're either gonna have to send them back their checks or give them a refund. I would rather send them back their checks with a new statement and say, this is what, because I've got a lot of checks that, or not a lot, but I've got a few checks that haven't been cashed from last year. It's one way or the other, but,
So you want to not cash their check, just keep their check?
well, it won't
And
let us. It will not let us.
But when you say send a check
Oh, right,
back,
yes.
send their actual
Their
check.
actual check back.
Instead of
with
you
it
sending a
in.
check that they don't ever cash and then it's
Yes.
messed up on our books.
That's a
Yeah.
problem.
It
Yeah.
is, it's a big problem. So, but anyway, that's a whole nother issue right now.
Fun time, isn't it, Mary?
Yeah, but oh, and we will be closed for lunch today too again because it's just Karen and I and Dawn, so.
Are you guys, is it calling for appointments or?
No, we're
Okay.
open to the public now.
Okay.
Just the only ones that are appointments are commercial vehicles.
Okay.
But Karen's worked her tail off the last week and a half, so.
Yeah,
I'm
and it really
very-
wasn't that bad.
No, but I
There
mean,
were a few upset people, but
there have
for the
been,
most part,
but with,
people were great.
yeah. We've gotten a lot of phone calls. That's the worst part is the phones. You know, they don't stop ringing even though we're open to just for appointments. So we just do what we do. If we're both on the phone,
Yep.
they'll have to call back. That's all I can say. I mean, we're doing the best we can with what we got. But we've had Lisa Milton in helping receiving tax payments and going for just wonderful. So we're gonna make it through.
Okay.
So thank you
Thank you.
guys.
Very good. Thank you,
Uh-huh.
Ms. D.
That's your picture. Oh, tomorrow, so you don't have to come up with it.
broke?
No, the escape actually broke on us, but luckily, it was only $694 to repair it when we got an $880 quote. So actually worked out pretty well. Some kind of a sensor, the ambulance, or the escape kept shutting off, like it was dying. We had that problem and was told there was nothing wrong with it. Luckily, catalytic converter was clogged and it resolved itself, and then it did it again. So they actually, Cornerstone Automotive was the one that actually got it in and fixed it within days. It was so nice when they did that. What I was coming to you guys about is the craft grant is open again for the Board of EMS, and I told you I'd go for another Lucas device. I don't remember if you guys remember what that is, but that's the automated chest compression device. Okay. With this, there is a match of 25% like it was the last time. So our out-of-pocket would be $3,968.50. The actual quote for a new Lucas is $15,874. You guys want to see that? We would not actually get word on this Lucas until March, April, I believe is when we got it last year. So I was going to go to apply for that grant again, if you guys are on board with that.
So we'd end up paying 25% of 15,874.
Yes, and that's the $3,968.50 is what we would actually pay.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically $4,000.
So 3 batteries, so you have a battery in it and then 2 backups?
Yep. We
You-
used it.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to ask. Is it working out
Oh, yeah.
to where?
We've got the one, on the
Yeah.
first out units, and we've had to take it to Stafford, we've had to take it to Maxville. And so the crews, they've all had the training on it. It's hands off for us when it comes to chest compressions, especially your long distances. It's really beneficial. Crews are so excited to have them. We've only got the one though, so my goal is to get one on each medic unit eventually. We actually, with this grant, if you guys are willing, I've got Clayton is the chair, so we'll have to sign a couple of forms here for us to be able to, one of them Dr. Farmer actually approved, and then the other one is just an agreement for the service is what we're allowing. If we pay for one outright, which is what I was going to talk to you guys about as well, because we won't know this until next year, whether or not we're going to get this or not. I did get a quote for one that we could possibly take out of our budget at the end of this year, and it's $13,824.85. We actually got a $500 discount because we're able to trade in one of our manual striker cots on that, and we also got a discounted rate because we'd be buying it outright. So I'm going to give that to you guys to look over. We see the price differences on this one. Did you get the back page on?
Yeah, well, we have to have a motion to allow the chairman to sign
To sign it, okay.
the agreement.
How long are those good for?
10 years,
Okay, and then they're out of date?
yes. And we have to look at, kind of like our Zoll that we have, our AED, or CPR, or what do you call those, AED defibrillators. Those are over 10 years as well that we have. And we just replaced all of those. We got those all replaced. Don't have to worry about that until well late under 7 years. Have to start replacing those, and we do them one at a time. That way we're not replacing everything at once. That's how it was brought, is all 4 of them were purchased at one time, and that is a huge chunk of change to be coming out.
And it was foundations that bought them, right?
Jason Bolt actually was here when all
Yeah.
those Zolls were purchased, so I'm not for sure how he did that. But all 4 were purchased all at the same time.
Well, I know the Health Foundation bought 1 or 2.
They might have, that.
What would be the next big thing after this?
Well, we still have 2 more we gotta get, so if we get one, if we get it through the grant, which I'm not saying we're gonna get it because we got it last year, okay, it's a pretty big grant. The fact that it's a 25% match, we got a chance, because that means, hey, we're willing to put some money into it. But if we don't, then we got 1 more the next year, 1 more the next, I'll just take 1 out every budget year if we have enough money left over each year,
Yeah.
so. And then we have,
No, you got it in your budget to spend the 13,000?
Yes, Nita actually crunched the numbers, and that's what we have left over at the end of the budget year that she's,
And that's after you make your ambulance payments?
we don't
Ambulance
have
payment's already
ambulance
made.
Yeah,
payment.
we don't have
Okay.
one this year.
Ambulance payment's already been made out there.
Yeah, and we've
It's
been rolling
paid
that
off.
over into the reserve fund
Yeah.
to prepare for,
So this will go over into the reserve fund, so that 13,000 would come out of this number here?
that's what's left over in our budget. It'll come out of the
Yes.
actual budget, our
Yeah.
EMS budget.
If she can get it.
So year end, you'd have, yeah,
Okay.
so we'd still roll.
When I say the next big thing, I can see this, we got the Zools and we've got this, and I mean, I think they're all a good idea, the striker. And then, once we got the Zools and all the rigs, then we were looking at getting strikers and all the rigs. And when I say what's the next deal after that, after we get the strikers and all the units, what'll be the next deal after that?
I don't have anything major planned yet. It's just keeping up with, the newest technology. This is actually beneficial for our techs. I mean, that's what I'm looking at for them.
Yeah.
Ambulances every 5 years, we're looking at replacing those. So I don't have anything yet in the works, believe it or not, after these are all purchased, so.
Because I can't ever see going back, I mean, I'm in favor of doing this. I'm just talking about down the road in 10 years, as we have to start replacing the Zools. And then we'll replace the strikers.
And
And
ambulance.
then the ambulance every 4 or 5 years.
Which is why I've been trying to do it more budget friendly, like one a year instead of everything at once. I mean, because that is, I can see what you're saying now. I mean, it's just more technology that you have to replace.
I'm fine with it.
So we need a motion to authorize the chairman
For the grant.
to sign.
And then if you're gonna allow her to purchase one outright, we need a motion for that too.
Yeah, so you need to.
What's the name of the grant?
It is the CRAFT grant, KRAF.
Craft grant? I make a motion that we allow Misty to apply for the craft grant to purchase a striker.
Second.
Been moved and second that we approve the chairman to sign the agreement with Kraft Grant. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
And I make a motion that we approve Misty to purchase a Lucas device in the amount of $13,824.85.
Second.
Been moved and second, we authorize Misty to order a Lucas for $13,824.85. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
Okay, and then I just have one other thing, if I could request executive session for non-elected personnel for about 10 minutes.
Sorry, guys.
You're fine.
Go ahead.
I make a motion that we go into executive session to discuss non-elected personnel for 10 minutes, including County Attorney Nita, Commissioners, and Misty.
Second.
Been moved and second, we go into executive session for 10 minutes for non-elected personnel. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
Yeah, I make a motion that we move Bailey Schrog, is that how you say her last name? Schrog? From range 5, step 1 to range 6, step 3, effective December 1st.
Second.
Been moved and second, we increase Bailey, step increase. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
I need that.
Your what?
Or my agenda, some bottom, I think.
Come on up, guys.
Morning. Morning, gentlemen.
Yeah, morning. How's it going, guys?
Good, good, good. I don't know if everybody, I think I've met a lot of you. Bo Regal.
Rice Garner, I think I may know you. Bo,
Well, Clayton.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I've met you before.
are you DJ's brother?
Yes, I am.
Okay, yeah, nice to finally meet you.
Yeah.
I've never met you in person.
All right, good morning, gentlemen. Nita, thank you for allowing us to visit with you here quickly. As you recall, I don't know how many weeks, months it's been, but I came in here and kind of discussed potentially for grant opportunities, and that GBT was definitely pursuing and looking at some of those things. So we're here just to give you a little bit more information and maybe some possible options and stuff like that. What I did, and I'll turn this over to Bo here in a second, but I just kind of, these maps we'll probably refer to here in a little bit, but this is, you have two maps here. One's a zoomed in version so you can kind of see, and then the bigger state map just kind of shows you who technically the regulated voice phone company. I know, I think I talked about that last time. I know it's like phone, who cares, necessarily cares about phone, but that's kind of where funding and stuff came in the past, was based off the phone. Now, obviously we're trying to get state, federal to transition everything to funding from an internet standpoint. But you can look at this. I know this is really hard to read here, but you can kind of look and see who the various companies are that cover your area. And when you zoom in here on Stafford County, on this particular map, the zoom in one. So GBT, our regulated territory is all of the orange, or that color. That was kind of our regulated territory. That's where we've taken fiber and stuff like that. When you look at Stafford County, 40, the green is, that would be CenturyLink is the carrier, and then the blue would be Southwestern Bell. AT&T is the carrier. We'll get into that here in a little bit. The other thing I'll just, before Bo starts talking, is when you look at Stafford County, you can kind of see those various lines and stuff like that. That is what we would call exchanges, voice exchanges. That's what dictates, that St. John, when you look at the St. John exchange, the boundary, anybody that lives in that area has a 549, traditionally had a 620-549 number, compared to, Maxville, I believe it's a 620-358. 348, thanks Nita, number, etc. So the reason I point that out is like, say, as we discuss a little bit more today, that'll come back to these maps. But that's just kind of an overview of the environment, I guess, of the state of Kansas. You can see there's about 45 different types of communication companies that traditionally provided voice services to all these areas. And now as we transition and talk about grants and stuff, we'll explain how that comes into play a little bit. So we'll let Bo talk more about grant opportunities.
Yeah, thanks Kyle, and thank you guys for your time today. I think as we all know, there's going to be several opportunities coming down the pipe here, and so we're very interested in working with Stafford County and you folks in deploying broadband here. I think Kyle mentioned in a previous conversation, what we did with the wireless and putting about $800,000 into Stafford County to at least ramp up. Now, we were able to provide some high speeds with what we deployed, but you guys probably know this, but I think it's a short term. What's good today in 5 years probably isn't going to be fast enough, or what we need to be able to do the things that we do out here, whether it's commerce or agriculture, whatever it may be, whatever field we're in, it's probably not going to be what we need. So anyways, we're interested. We wanted to kind of to gauge your guys' interest. We think that the necessary technology is fiber at the end of the day. It does come with a cost. I don't know if Kyle got into that a little bit, but you're looking between $20,000 and $25,000 a mile to put it in the rural areas. Obviously, when you get in town and you have to deal with going under streets and dealing with concrete and pavement and stuff, those costs go up a little bit. But we're really focused on with these grant opportunities is serving the rural areas. And that's because, and a lot of times they're very limited on what they can get from an internet provider. So jumping into a little bit, the first program that's coming up is being sponsored or backed by USDA. It's the Reconnect Program, and they have different levels that are coming out. So what I mean by that, they have a 75-25, 75% grant, 25% matching, I guess, from us, that is available. They have a 50-50 loan grant, and then they have a total loan. One of the big things, as you look at these maps, we operate a little bit differently than some of the other companies that provide service in this area. And so they're looking for a return on their money, so that's why they don't invest any dollars out here. It gets tough from a feasibility standpoint. So, you know, even as I talked to you about it, I wanted to make sure that everybody's aware there's still a feasibility that goes into making sure, and you would think that with 75% grant, 25% matching funds, that wouldn't be a question, but it is. I mean, the density is small enough out here that it can become an issue. So as we go through this process, you know, that is something that we'll look at to, okay, is this something that we can maintain? Anyways, getting back into the Reconnect program, one of the first opportunity, which is 75-25, you might ask, you know, why I think that's a good opportunity, a good fit. I'll tell you a couple of reasons why. There are going to be other programs that follow this, but there is a big demand because of all the money that has been put towards broadband. So we're going to run into different obstacles and issues as we go along. There's obviously the supply chain issue that everybody's fighting with. It doesn't matter what industry, and it's going to take time to make sure that these dollars are being spent as wisely as they can be spent. So what I mean by that, this first application is due towards the end of February, and you know, they're going to start awarding winners sometime this summer probably, and that might not be, you know, it won't stop there, I guess. They'll probably trickle in for a few months afterwards. But when you work with USDA, one of the things they require you to do is an environmental study before you can begin any work. And that's going to take a year in itself. So as I said here and plan, just want to be upfront, you know, I mean, when you say, hey, we're going to do this, or even you get, you know, talking about it, we're probably looking at 2024 before there's a lot of construction put in the ground if we're successful in winning an application. Anyways, I'm not sure, you know, how much funding that you guys have been awarded. Just if we reference this map again, just to guys give you a kind of a figure to have in your head. If you look at the St. John Exchange there, which is probably pretty close to the biggest, the Stafford Exchange is pretty big as well. Roughly it's going to cost about $5 million to build that exchange.
That would be with five, just so we're on the same page, we're talking about a pure fiber network to
every rural residence in that exchange is what that would cover.
Are you saying fiber to their house?
Absolutely.
And that would be just in the
St. John Exchange there. So there's still, you know, portions of the Maxville and the Hudson and Stafford, and there's still a lot of territory out there. I wanted to give you guys a ballpark, you know, just something that it takes a lot of money to put fiber in the ground, and you know, I know that your funds might be limited to some degree as well, but you know, and at the end of the day, I guess we're here to gauge your interest. Obviously, there's got to be a whole application and everything put together for this process, and so we're on a little bit of timeline, and if it's something that you're interested in, GBT is interested in, taking the cost on associated with putting the application together and working with you. If it's something that you guys aren't interested in, then, we don't want to spend all the dollars that goes into engineering a fiber deployment as well. And so I guess to get down to it a little bit, and I don't know that you guys can answer this today, but are there dollars available that you guys could help GBT in doing some of this, and GBT would be willing to match whatever you guys put in at that point too. So we don't expect not to have a hand or stake in the game as well. So.
And don't you have Hudson? Didn't you run a line of?
Yeah, so that's a great question. When we put that money in earlier, we did run fiber backbone all the way up to the Hudson, the town of Hudson. So we have been able to assist a few businesses up there with a fiber connection.
Yeah, so, and I think maybe I alluded to this last time, but I know that's been, a period of time ago, but our fiber network infrastructure today, we have fiber in pretty much every community within Stafford County, with the exception of Seward. So we have fiber now to Hudson. That was part of that project last year. We have fiber. I mean, obviously you guys operate off fiber here. We don't have it to the whole town of St. John, but we have a good backbone of fiber. We have it in Stafford. We have it in Maxville as well. But what we're really looking at is, and to your point, Todd, the St. John Exchange is just one portion of your county, but from a grant standpoint and a 75-25, it would give us an opportunity at least to start somewhere because I think it was maybe, the farther you get your fiber branched out and stuff, the easier it is then to kind of just, continue to build it out and stuff like that. But the St. John Exchange also just, it's one of your bigger chunks, and it makes it a little bit easier to start, somewhere with that one where it's more of your, from north to south and kind of centered in your county. Part of, too, is down the road is other grant opportunities may, hopefully would allow us to continue, to look at further out, but with this grant opportunity being 25-75 is starting with, one that from a financial standpoint, I mean, you talk 25-75, $5 million, that's still $1.5 million of, that we gotta come up with. That one thing that I'll talk even about that is the way they have these programs set up is you gotta spend your $1.5 million before you get any of the 3.5 grand dollars. Which makes it a little bit challenging because you gotta have your number right to start with, and with inflation, and I'm telling you, we're not probably gonna build for 2 or 3 years by the time you get through this. We gotta make sure that we do our homework on the backside and make sure that we get that number as close as we can get it, so.
Yeah, help me understand the future of broadband. Is fiber gonna be the main source of what everybody's gonna want in 10 years? Like I hear, I don't know enough about it to even be dangerous, but I hear like talks of air fiber and like right now I'm a rural customer of your guys's, and I have the to where I can get it off of an elevator, and it's really fast stuff. I mean, I'm happy.
Right.
So I guess
What elevator are you shooting to?
at our office we're going to Stafford.
And so they have fiber there. See, I shoot to Seward, but ours is slow because Seward doesn't have fiber.
So I guess I'm trying to figure out, as far as investment wise into the future, fiber's gonna be, as far as you guys know, barring some major technological breakthrough,
So
fiber's gonna be your bread and butter for the next 10, 15 years.
Yeah, so what a lot of people don't always, unless you're in the industry, Bryce, is fiber is what is the backbone of all the air stuff.
Okay.
You've probably heard of 5G. I know that's a huge buzzword as well. 5G does not work without fiber. And for 5G to work, they're saying that to work well, you're gonna have a tower very close together. Well, all of that 5G typically is connected with fiber optics, just like the towers that you guys point back to. That is actually fiber optics is what is carrying back all of that traffic. And that's what, Bo alluded to a little bit, is fiber is still considered future-proof technology that's getting put in. Electronics can always be upgraded, but it's kind of like your highways and your power poles and stuff like that. Once that stuff is put in place, at least then you have the infrastructure, and then it's just a little bit of maintaining compared to the wireless stuff and we've been in the wireless game for 10 years, Bo, or longer?
Yeah, probably longer than that, probably 15 years.
And typically on a wireless side, like what, you're receiving out there, pretty much every 4 to 5 years, it's a R&R, a rip and a complete tear down and a put back in, where when you have, it's just like back in the 50s when the Rural Phone Act was put into place, they went out and they put copper wire to everywhere. Well, that's essentially what they need to do now. It's just everybody's trying to come up with these other creative ways to do it, where if you take fiber there, it's pretty much, you're pretty much done. You're set for future for a long time. The other thing too, Bryce, is what people are projecting is in the next 5 to 6 years, every home is going to need a gig of internet speed. I know that sounds crazy today, but just with AI and virtual reality and smart farming and stuff like that, that is what they're projecting. And every year, we see a steady year-over-year increase of broadband usage. And today, most of this wireless and stuff has, a lot of limitations compared to fiber optics. That stuff is ready to go. It's future-proof, and that's what we mean by future-proof. Now fiber's no problem to do a gig, but now everything's getting turned up to 10 gig capable stuff. Right. Yeah. So, it's just, like I say, you're just setting yourself up to put in something. Yes, it's more expensive up front, but you're gonna do it the right way, and it's gonna be done, and then, you don't have to have this conversation in 5 more years or 5 more years. Okay, now we just did this with fiber optics. You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that this line here is the dividing line between the Hudson and St. John
Yep,
deal?
that is correct.
So if you guys could do this in the St. John, what do you call it, exchange?
Yeah, exchange, yeah.
So would you guys run like trunk lines out and then spider off of that?
Yes.
To where, so you would, if you ran that, I don't know where you'd tie into the fiber optic at. I imagine St. John, then go out from there?
Yep, more than likely, we would work with our engineers but yeah, it would come from St. John if we built the St. John exchange for sure. That would where the main line would come from.
Okay. But the money that you're asking us to put up would be to build the St. John exchange?
Yes.
So if we put the money up, that money would go to the St. John exchange?
Yes, yeah, I was maybe making sure that we have fiber in St. John, so we would connect to our main line from St. John and run main lines throughout and it kind of looks like a tree, you start with big branches and work your way down to small branches.
So if they come out of St. John and head north up to the north boundary line, is there any way that, I don't know whether fiber's like water. Can they run a big enough line to where if you get up there on the north edge and then you're only 3 miles from Seward? Or
that
4
would
miles from
that
Seward?
would be our goal.
That would pay for this, and then you guys would be able to hook on there and go to Seward?
Yeah,
Because the north end of the county, that's terrible. It's better than what he just.
Right.
No, but that's exactly right. So we would engineer it so wherever we connect to, that we can hopefully continue to look at the Hudson and the Stafford and the Maxville exchanges and continue to branch out. That would be the ultimate goal, absolutely.
Yeah, you engineer it with, big infrastructure that's, if you want to talk in fiber, you engineer it where you take 288 fibers and maybe for the St. John exchange up north, and I'm just throwing these these are just random numbers, but you're around 288, knowing that your St. John Exchange is gonna use 100 of those, and then you have 188 that, dead end somewhere else that when you are able to invest more, you're able to utilize that infrastructure and tie into it, kind of your water pipe analogy.
Okay.
Yep. But that's part of the engineering of that, to not just look at this small project, but the big picture of what's potentially possible as well. So,
Now, is Stafford an exchange?
yes, Stafford is an exchange.
They look about the same size, maybe.
Yeah, they're pretty close, I would say.
Stafford may even be a little bit bigger.
Part of one
Stops
thing
just
too,
shy of the refuge, maybe.
that we have to be conscientious of, I'll just tell you guys too, part of doing a St. John Exchange first, is you get very close into Kibera.
Wildlife refuge and that's
We've been
probably-
told that in this particular grant to not even get close to there or it'll get denied.
The environmental thing will rear its head if we.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
We're so blessed to have a refuge in our county.
Because you run up to Stafford,
We're,
Ellenwood Road.
we can't put up wind turbines in Stafford County.
Across the
The
road.
refuge
Right.
kicks us out.
Right, so that was a whole-
And the nice deal is they don't.
In right of way and stuff like that, so that's, but this particular deal, that particular project didn't have to do environmentals, as long as standard right of way. This particular, because it is a USDA, this particular grant that we're exploring, and I mean, this is a long shot grant too, but environmentals and we just had discussion with consultants, and when we made them aware of that, they said, I wouldn't even get close.
So you said the 25% is gonna be like 1.5 million. So how much are you liking to see us come up with?
And that's a ballpark figure, but it's gonna be pretty close, so again, we need to do the feasibility on that. We want to have that conversation before we went into a big effort and trying to figure it, but if we could get like halfway together where we match whatever you guys match to put in, that's where we would like to see it at the end of the day. So 750,000, 500,000, somewhere in that area. A couple things that Kyle just alluded to it, is there's no guarantee on this. We expect there to be a lot of applications put in, and so there's a limited amount of dollars. The good thing is we're gonna try early and often, because there'll be other opportunities. But I think the important thing is we want to do it as soon as we can, because again, we're talking 2 years before we need to put a plow on the ground if we're successful in this one. So the other ones are gonna follow later than that, and then again, you're gonna run into supply chain and availability of construction crews and things of that nature. So, but I want to follow up a couple things on technology. I know Bryce had asked about the airwave stuff, and a lot of that stuff is for the big city. That technology is really, they put on poles, and they shoot it kind of pole to pole. But it's all, at the end of the day, it's all connected with fiber. And it works because of the density of the city. The other thing that with the wireless, and you guys probably know this, or Kyle probably talked to this, is we don't have a lot of trees in western Kansas, but even a tree row on the north side of somebody's house affects that signal a lot. And so we have to end up putting
3 miles away.
distance affects that. So we have to end up putting up towers or having them cut down a tree, and sometimes we can't even make it work even with all that. So there's just some challenges, but there's challenges with every technology. We try to overcome them and provide a service as best we can. So
I mean, we have, I think, we have 5 towers in Stafford, or 5 structures that we're on in Stafford County. A couple are co-ops, etc., but most of them are towers, and we still run into a lot of point-to-point issues. And I mean, 5 towers is a pretty good density in the county. I mean, even though it's a big county, that's still quite a few towers, and we still run into a lot of people that, like I say, it's not always just the shelter belt in your yard. It's 1-2 miles away, and you can't go ask your neighbor to cut down this row of trees so that you can get internet service.
The internet service, they have your ground blow away.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you had other counties?
That's what I was getting ready to ask.
Yeah, that have been able to use some with ARPA funding?
Just because I haven't asked them if I can, disclose who they are, I guess, we are in this conversation with other counties to do the same thing. And they act very interested in using their funds to make this work, so.
Yeah. At least in my opinion, that 750,000 might look like it'd be a stretch for me. I think we're getting about 800,000,
Yeah,
and we've already got 250,000 of that committed.
yeah, I think that it would qualify.
Yeah, I do too.
We
I'm
just
just
don't have
thinking
a
we
big
don't have
pot.
750,000.
I'd be interested in seeing how, and maybe that's partially a question for Carolyn, but seeing how other counties are, I have a feeling that they're using alternative ways to generate some money for this. They're not just coming out of their savings account for it. I think that it's something that, everything's going to internet and it's just gonna continue to get more and more. I think if you're gonna attract young families to the community, that's, a young family doesn't wanna move 6 kids up by Seward and then have slow Cocoa Melon on the TV.
Well,
So, I mean, it's important, and work from home. I
Right,
mean,
that's with COVID, we saw, and
Yeah.
you're seeing a transition now to a lot of people, are maybe moving, or at least entertain the idea of moving to rural, but, when you talk to a lot of, realtors and stuff like that, one of the first things now that they get asked is, well, what kind of internet, what kind of broadband does this, homestead, farmstead have capable of it? And, we talk to people all the time where they either can or they can't. They can either do their photography business out of their house, or they can't do that and they have to, go into town or et cetera. And now you're just seeing tons of industry, tons of jobs that are allowing people to work from home as long as they have a broadband connection.
Yeah,
And it's not even only attracting new families out there, but it's keeping the ones that you have out there, and that's as important as attracting the new ones, so.
yeah.
Is that 750 a hard number?
It's not hard,
I mean, can you see where we're coming from?
Yes,
We gotta-
absolutely.
And we've already made a few commitments.
Yep,
Our biggest deal is we're starting to get into where we have to move and make some decisions from paying engineers to fully, I mean, that $5 million was a very rough ballpark deal, but now it's into it's gonna cost you guys this much to actually physically engineer it, and that, it makes it tough for us to make a decision if we don't know if we have your guys' support on it and maybe some potential support financially.
we're committed to this, I mean, we want you guys to know that, we want you to know that we're interested in helping the people in Stafford County, and to the application problem, we're gonna invest $75,000 in this application, by the time we turn it over and say it's done. It's just, there's a lot of paperwork when you're dealing with USDA and the government stuff that we have to jump through, so, we just want to make sure that, we have you guys' support, commitment, and know that, it's, again, we have to go through the feasibility portion of it, but there will be challenges, I'm sure, even with what we're trying to go after here, so.
Yeah. I guess as an idea behind the project, you're not gonna get me to argue with that we need it. I'm just concerned at how we're gonna pay for it. And I think that's just something that we have to work through. But I'm at least interested in doing it. I think it's an investment for the future, but I guess it's just a lot to process right now, I guess, on how we're gonna pay for it. I'd like to explore some different avenues on I don't wanna sink all of our ARPA funding into it, I guess, cause we've got some different things that we're looking at that are also, I guess in my mind, just as important as far as, you know, different infrastructure stuff, housing, you know,
Yep.
stuff like that, so it's just, we need about 4 times as much money from
Yep.
in ARPA funding.
You know, that's always the common denominator.
Sure. Carolyn has a question.
Yeah, it's not my meeting, but if you don't mind me asking.
Not at all,
that'd be great.
Carolyn.
Are you, you may be following some of the things that are specific to broadband and some of the, you know, the bills that have been passed and not yet implemented closer than I have at this point. Do you anticipate that there's going to be any opportunity for county level governments to ask for a portion of those funds? And do you think that we could go that route to find the funds to match as opposed to using the ARPA that has some flexibility to be used in other ways? And do you need that commitment at a particular date that would, you know, like, if they said, yes, we're willing to, you know, commit a certain number of funds, not knowing for sure whether we have the I don't know, I guess I'm just trying to think through the timing of what those potential
Equally as
things are so that they could be a partner without obligating themselves to a particular pot. If that
Yeah, so I don't think we know all the answers to the ones that are gonna follow this yet, Carolyn. Those are gonna be administered by NTIA, and those dollars are gonna come. I think that they have a lot of work to do between now and then getting the rules of the road. So I don't know that I know enough now whether there's gonna be opportunity there, but and I don't know how much you caught of our conversation, but you know, this is the first opportunity. The application is due by February, so February 22nd. So we just gotta. There's a lot of work that we gotta do on our end, and so we can't really drag our feet. So if it's something that you know, I mean, we understand you guys gotta represent the county, and you guys get to decide where the dollars go. So. You know, if it's something that is not, you're not interested at this point, you know, we can look at one of the future ones. Again, it's gonna push it down the road. As I told these guys, and I don't know if you were here, but if we would win this one, which they're gonna start awarding probably this summer, you know, it's probably 2024 before we can put a plow on the ground. And you know, as you guys know, when you spend dollars, people wanna see some results, right? I mean, I guess we get that, but it's just gonna take some time for all this to play out. And part of the challenge with this one is the environmental deal. That in itself, after they award it, it takes about a year to get the environmental done.
Yeah. Is the St. John Exchange maybe, it looks like it's maybe 40% of the county, 30% of the county?
Yeah, I'd say it looks maybe, looking at it, Bryce, it probably about a quarter,
Yeah.
But it's probably half the population.
yeah, which,
And do you have to be cognizant of what type of funds are used to match this? Like some programs will prohibit federal funds being used to match federal funds. Is that something we should be thinking about?
no, I mean, I don't think so. I mean, I think that it will be fine. These, from a broadband standpoint, from what I understand, you know, we would definitely want to make sure that we have all of our bases covered, but I think they will be fine using those funds from a broadband standpoint.
Right now the direction, the clarification we're getting from consultants and people that are, you know, going through the 200-page application deal is that it will be, matching funds from like ARPA and stuff will qualify for matching funds. Yeah. So, some of them grant opportunities down the road too, there's just a lot of, obviously nothing has been set, so there's, like, we have the rules on this one, I guess, is why we, you know, are approaching you guys about this today, because we have the rules and we know that one down the road. just traditionally with even the grants that like we were awarded in last year, a lot of those were built more towards maybe some more wireless deployment. And that's where we just had this conversation about wireless. It's a bridge gap, you're investing money in something that's, part of, we felt good about the grant that we did last year because we were able to get fiber optics, about a quarter of that 800 of that grant was to get fiber to Hudson, Kansas, so that was a big deal for us, is not just, putting stuff in that's gonna, maybe only work for 5 or 6 years, but it's to get a backbone further, like you guys, mentioned, and that's the only issue with, I guess why we're coming, why are we waiting for that stuff is because this is an opportunity now, and we know that it's geared more towards, like I say, being able to do infrastructure the right way.
And all the dollars, I mean, you're gonna see this, all of the grant programs, you basically have to put fiber in. I mean, it's all a minimum of 100 by 20 requirement, so there's just not a lot of technologies that you can use to meet those requirements, so.
Yeah.
Is there any, I guess, information that we could, if we look into this more, that we could
Provide you guys, yeah, I mean, we want to make this decision as easy on you as possible, I guess, and at the same time, we got to get started on that application, so we don't want to sound pushy or anything, but there definitely, for us, is a sense of urgency to start working on this, and we don't want to sound like, hey, we're working at the 11th hour here to try to push something through. We just got the rules, they just came out at Thanksgiving, so it's just one of those things that, and I probably don't like it about it, but you gotta move pretty fast on some of these opportunities, so.
Yeah. When do you need to have an answer by? It's not gonna be today.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
But I mean, I do understand the urgency, but I would like us discuss it a little bit and kind of talk about programs.
How we're gonna allocate or where we'd like to allocate.
Yep.
It seems, on a few of the deals we've sent off, we have a consulting firm that we send applications to spend ARPA funding.
Yep.
And then they either approve or deny it. A lot of them, we've been trying some stuff that's kind of off the wall, but a lot of them have been denied at this point, but we've got some ideas on how we wanna, I guess, or at least I have some ideas of how I'd like to see it allocated. And we're not working, I think our final working number is like 770,000, isn't it, after we pay our
I guess that's right, we're getting 800,000 total.
so it's maybe closer
It's
to
10%.
Yeah, so we're working with.
We've already spent
Would the first of the year be fair for you guys?
I think so.
Oh, definitely, yeah, I would say here, we got a meeting, we're not missing any meetings they give us 2 meetings.
Yeah, I think we can.
I'd say by
really quick.
like December 29th, we could maybe know something, that meeting.
Okay.
Be all right.
And would you like one of us to be here that day?
I guess we'll call you.
Okay. If you have any questions or if we can help
Yeah.
you guys in any way as well.
Well, that was my main question, is I didn't want to invest any money in something that was gonna be obsolete, but it sounds like you guys have helped me understand that fiber's kind of the.
Yep, it's exactly what Kyle said, it's just laying that road down and then, what you're gonna have to replace at the end of the day is the electronics on both ends, but that's.
You're gonna have that no matter what, right?
Yeah, that, the expensive part is getting the road there, and once that's there, again, we've had fiber in the ground since early 90s in some of our exchanges that we still use, so, it's a good long-term, investment from the infrastructure standpoint.
I guess that would be my supporting case to that question would be from our company standpoint is everything in orange here. Again, funding and stuff is available in our orange area, but the only thing we deploy in these areas is fiber optics.
Yeah.
So, we're doing rural builds, in 2022 as we speak, we don't mess around with wireless or anything, it's fiber and that's what we put in place.
Yeah.
we know it's good to go.
I mean, we won't be able to get you the 750 if we decide, you know, if we decide to go on to support this. So I mean, I guess if we give you a call here in a week or two and just say, this is the dollar amount we think we can support you, then how quick will you guys be able to get back and say, that's not enough, we're gonna go somewhere else, or that's a go? Because we hate to put an ear tag on that money, thinking that it's gonna go there, and then you guys decide to go.
So great questions. A couple of things on that is, we don't need that money right away. I think what's important is if there's any timelines on you guys to have that money spent, because, again, we just have to spend that money, first, but we don't have to spend any of it until we start construction, so.
Yeah.
And
So
this is a grant application, so that, I mean,
Yeah.
we're sitting here, you know, and this, I mean,
Yeah.
just.
You're just trying to figure out if you're gonna have some support,
Right,
if and when you
Do
get
you,
it
do you
selected.
have a date when your dollars have to be?
You want 4 years?
End of 2024?
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
End of 24, so yeah, I mean,
So you have, I mean, you have years that you can
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
that sitting, so it doesn't have to be spent by March for
Yeah.
30.
And I mean, if it takes you guys 6 months to figure, or whatever, to figure out, if you guys decide to go somewhere else, you guys will contact us and say, we're not going, so you don't have to have that money earmarked.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess I get this, at this point, you know, where we're at is, we're either going or we're not. And, because we gotta have that application in by February 22nd. Now, we won't have any answers until, you know, this summer,
Until it's
potentially.
approved.
Yeah, so, again, I don't, that's not the perfect solution by any means, but that's kind of where we're at with it, so.
yeah.
Okay.
yes.
Can you guys, in the meantime, if we're gonna do the St. John Exchange, if that sounds like the most feasible
Yep.
project for you guys, can you give me a number, and you could just shoot it to Nita
Can I go ahead and
text it over
type
to me,
this up?
whatever.
Remember we talked about that
Of
uniform
the
guidance
potential
track and all
reach that we're gonna, I'd like to kind of get a grasp on.
The number
how
of
many-
houses in
Yeah,
there.
how many people we're gonna
So
help.
part of the application process
Yeah, I mean, it's
is
real.
we have to give them the
Yeah.
opinion and probable cost. So all those things are required.
Yeah.
We just didn't want to spend the dollars to have the engineers do that if it was something you guys weren't interested
Yeah.
in. So,
No,
yeah,
that's fine. It's not gonna be a deciding factor for me. I'd just like to, I guess, when I decide to do something, I like supporting
absolutely.
evidence on why we're doing something. And
Yep.
I do think, I agree with Todd that this is probably one of the heaviest populated
Your next.
sections of the county, but, yeah. I guess just for conversation's sake, I'd like to.
Absolutely.
Our commissioner districts are set up, you know, as far as population. So Bryce is the St. John
That's
district,
about my district.
and that's basically 4 townships. And then I'm more in the northern and the western, so I have 11 townships.
And I have 7.
It's based on population.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think that area covers the more,
And
The
2 of them
majority.
are up by Clear.
Yeah, you don't have to stay clear
So,
away.
I mean, you guys understand population.
But if you,
Oh, yeah.
You know
if
your
you, if you
constituents
could
and
hit
what's
the
in your
southwest
Yeah.
corner next, that'd be
Yeah.
great.
Actually, I prefer one just south of the
I'm working
airport.
for you, Rob, I'm trying to get back.
yeah.
Yeah, all right, well, if you guys have any questions at all, please reach out.
For sure.
And appreciate your time and the conversation, and we'll kind of run with it from here.
Okay?
In the meantime, we'll, I guess, just make sure, so we'll try to get you a rough ballpark of.
Yeah, that's fine.
Of things that would fall.
Like I said, it's not gonna be, I don't think you can pick one area over the other just because, but I'd just like to know, I guess, how many you're fixing on serving.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks, guys, appreciate your
Good
time.
to see you.
You as well.
Merry Christmas.
Same to you guys, Merry Christmas.
Tax roll corrections?
We had minutes and tax roll correction.
I make a motion that we approve the tax roll corrections.
Second?
Moving second, we accept the tax roll corrections. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. I make a motion that we approve the minutes of the December 8th, 2021 meeting.
Second?
Then moving second, we adopt the minutes of December 8th. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
Okay, what I'm here for, I'm requesting a step increase for the Greg Callison manager. He's been doing this for a year now. And actually, the increase is actually a two-step increase, which is, I have the room in my budget for it. He has taken on a lot of new duties. As far as under sheriff, he's done quite well at them.
Prior to the pandemic, it was disproportionate impact.
I don't worry nearly as much if I have to. Makes you kind of peace of mind.
Does Greg seem like he's got the personality where he wants to, the more experience he gets, he wants to learn stuff and know how to do things more, or is he pretty happy where he's at and just doesn't
I
want to
think
get
he
any
needs,
better?
he knows he needs to learn a little more. Well, like case detective and stuff like that, some more interrogation days. And once we get a little more leveled out, they'll probably be requesting schooling, and I'll probably send them.
Yeah.
I have some younger ones that have requested also, but they're not where I need them to be. Mindset really for me to want to invest money into them, I guess.
They
Is
haven't taken action on it.
Okay. You good with that, Clint?
Yep.
I make a motion that we do a step raise increase for Greg McAllister from range 11, step 2 to range 11, step 4.
Second.
Been moved and second, we increase Greg. A step increase from range 11, step 2 to range 11, step 4. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carried.
thank you, Joe.
And did Misty catch you out there? Do we need to talk about that any, or?
No, we got an idea on some stuff, but I have to do a little checking on some
Okay.
things. But yeah,
Cool. Yeah.
So why would that person feel that they were, make that call?
They were disadvantaged before the pandemic and
Because that's kind of a liability.
That's a huge
Is
liability.
that what we, it's just personality, and it's gonna be an ongoing problem?
tax credits, we've got all sorts of
That's, I
things
think it's the
that
first
our
time.
government has.
I don't know, but, you know, the channel one, I have a problem with certain
Eligible
people
for
have
our
it.
county based on our.
Can't you get that changed?
Can you do, I'd like, are we done here? I was
Yeah.
wondering about going into
Oh, we need
executive
to,
session and then.
do we need to decide on this June?
No, 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 no. You guys think about that. That's just
Well, I'd like somebody to give me some direction on it, because I think it's a BS holiday, but.
on the, do your homework. Some counties are doing it, some aren't.
What are Pratt and Barton?
They haven't decided yet. You wanna wait?
I'd rather wait, because.
That's fine. I just had some spare time, so I did it up for you. We'll just
Rob, do you
wait
know
on
what
that.
Juneteenth is?
By the pandemic. And we are able
Yeah.
to.
I know, but
You say,
is it something that
Yeah.
It started in
we're gonna
Washington
get
DC.
in trouble with, or is it something that, I don't know. We can talk about it later.
Okay,
What about the scan?
so, I
We'll
guess,
talk about the scanner later too, because I want to talk to Luann about the scanner.
All right.
so,
Luann has to have surgery on Friday on her shoulder. She'll be about
I'm not even sure, what is the June 10th,
It's emancipation.
emancipation
Emancipation.
proclamation.
okay.
Are eligible.
And it's not that I don't, it's not that I don't think that
For not only Stafford
is
County,
worthy of a
but state.
holiday, it's just, we have plenty of
Well,
holidays that are.
I agree, but it is considered a federal holiday.
If it's federal holiday, then I may
Banks
not
are
have a
closed. I
choice.
called the bank. They have to because Federal Reserve is closed.
Made a recommendation, or if you will
I-
make a recommendation.
Like I said, some counties are, some counties aren't.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're gonna go to that, then I think that you could go pick out a dozen that are worthy of a holiday.
St. Patrick's Day.
with another 10
Nita's
presidents, another
birthday.
10 presidents, we'll have 45 holidays.
St.
a
Patrick's
year.
Day, Good Friday.
I mean, that's my deal, it's not that that specific thing isn't worthy of it, it's just, I think that you can pick out 100. I mean, D-Day, and, I mean, there's a billion of them.
Just think about it.
But it's easy for
I
me
have
to
one of
print
those.
off.
I gave her a copy, yeah, that one I
That
had,
must
you
be
asked for
yours.
just the original.
Do you want
Sounds
it?
good, thank you. You're welcome.
Oh,
Do you want it for your files?
Yeah, I normally try to hold on to one for my
Okay.
files,
I
too.
so want to turn around and take your pictures.
How long do you want?
Just 10 minutes with Rob, the commissioners.
And
Okay.
no action?
No
And we'll
action
adjourn
afterwards.
after? Are we all done, Nita? Can we adjourn after this?
Yes, that's great.
Okay, I make a motion that we go into executive session to discuss non-elected personnel for 10 minutes,
And then adjourn.
and then we will adjourn after with the sheriff, county attorney Nita and the commissioners.
What are you recessing for?
Non-elected personnel.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, we're going to executive session for 10 minutes for non-elected personnel, and then we'll adjourn after that. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, Carol.
Motion carried.